don't always get the opportunity to do that. Of course, people stop you in the street and things like this, but it's great. Sometimes I'm a bit sort of, it's a shame that people could sort of maybe pay a fee for a signature or something, but it's fine. I mean, people are happy to do it, and it gives them something. So yeah, I just enjoy all the positive energy that people have. I mean, I'm just quite astounded at how much there is, and it reminds you that there's, in addition to being an actor and making a living and telling stories, there's also an obligation, I think, kind of spiritually to create a positive kind of flow, that people can plug into and arguably help inspire as well. So I've met a lot of people that have their own challenges in life and stuff, and it's very humbling.
I mean, obviously talking about inspiring, why do you think this show in particular is one that people have fallen in love with so much and in such a devoted way?
I think because you've got most boxes ticked, whatever your taste is, you've got a diverse cast, in terms of, people's sexual orientation, people's race, people's sexuality, to name a few. And, you've got good story, depending on your taste, you've got good storylines. You've certainly got a wealth of talent on display. People that are willing to give everything to get that shot for the moment, and are willing to sacrifice and commit as much as they can, if not more, And I think that all plays into, making it an arresting kind of watch, So, from the people I've spoken to and people that have been gracious enough to come to me and share their thoughts, that's certainly what I picked up from it. And, I've watched it myself on occasion, and I think that, the final product, everything's a bit flawed, but, humans are, so what we create is going to be also, fundamentally, I think that it's a good show, and one deserving of an audience, which it has, so, everything's blessed.
How does it feel for you to be adding to the mythology?
It feels good, man. I mean, I haven't really seen any of the other Musketeers stuff. I've read the source material, but I did that as research for the preparation of playing a Musketeer. In addition to reading Tom Reese's book, The Black Count, for obvious reasons. And it's I've never been interested in being influenced one way or the other by something that's existed or a character that I've played that's been played before, because I don't get anything from that. I'm not trying to copy the person. It's like I'm a classically trained actor. I had great teachers, and they taught me how to dissect a text and create a character, and that's what I arguably love doing more than anything else in the world, apart from spending time with my partner. But so yeah, it's it's something that I've never been interested, or it's just, for me, this is the only version of the Musketeers. It doesn't really have a relationship to anything else apart from Alexandre Dumas, who wrote it initially. So yeah, I would hope, because I can't guarantee, but I would hope that he would be, in favour of it, and that, I'm sure he'd be proud of Porthos anyway, because he was a big part in how I played it, and his father for that matter.
As a classically trained actor, there's a lot of talk at the moment in the industry about kind of 360 filmmaking and VR filmmaking, and I wonder what your sentiment is on that in terms of how it impacts you and your process as an actor and your methodology and approach to performance.
I don't know too much about it. Explain it to me.
So when you're shooting in 360,
right.
It's no longer...
Is that with these new cameras, I guess?
Yeah. And so you're not shooting in the frame anymore, now you're shooting in the entirety of the environment, and it becomes much more like theatre, which as a classically trained actor...
Yeah, I see the relationship now, This is really the first time I've even encountered that type of thing, and immediately my heart warms when I think about it, because I can't speak for anyone else, but the way that I work, even when I'm not on camera, I'm still giving those actors that are everything I have, because I'm helping them tell the story by me doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's not because it's my job, it's because it's what's right, it's what you should do. So the idea of someone seeing everything and everything I'm expressing, that's like, well, I was going to say something a bit rude then, but it's exciting for me. I think it's great. Yeah, I'm a fan of people that, you know, tell stories well and arguably are good reactors, you know, as opposed to just in love with the idea of acting. So, yeah, people that are capable of being on rather than just when it's like, you know, action and it's, you know, actually everything being captured. That's gold dust in my opinion for a true actor. So, yeah.
So following on from that then,
yeah,
does that mean that your attitude and your approach then to technology that would facilitate these types of performances is
absolutely
going to be?
I think this is an amazing like kind of evolution, like, you know, this kind of technological kind of thing that's happening. It's brilliant, you know. Just the more ways to tell stories, the better, you know. For someone like me, it's always going to be that answer because I love telling stories. But
what about when that technology removes the need for an actor? So when, for example, we're creating artificial intelligently driven, you know, characters.
I don't think it can, in all honesty. I don't think it can. I think, again, the Musketeers came from the source material, a book, a novel written by Alexandre Dumas. You can't separate the two, you know. Yeah, of course, you can create, you know, how would you describe it? What's it, what's the thing I'm thinking of? You can create the...
You're talking about the avatar or the
yeah, like you can create that,
yeah.
right? But it's still based on human behaviour. And so humans are always going to be the best qualified to do that. I just don't think you can teach that to machines, or it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be authentic.
Yeah.
And I think there will always be a need, an urge, a desire, as well as, of course, for the moneymakers, a market for authenticity. And so how can that ever go out of fashion?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Talking about humans, you have the luxury of working alongside some fantastically talented humans on this project. Can you talk a little bit about the rest of the cast and what the atmosphere is actually like on set?
Well, it was always joyous. You know, it's hard to call it work because, you know, you get to kind of see people that you either love or respect every single day, and it was always an environment where the work was the most important thing, particularly for the cast. You know, and you know, the likes of the other guys, you know, the gals. Not only are they great actors and practitioners, but for me, they were great teachers, you know, whether they know it or not. And I learned something from every single one of them. And of course, you've got, you know, the great kind of pillars of experience, you know, like Mr. Capaldi. I'm sure he'll be Sir Capaldi someday. And you've got Liam Cunningham, and, you know, just to name a couple. But from all of them, I watch, you know, like a hawk and learn and absorb all they have to offer, whether or not they're doing it, you know, willingly or not. I'm still taking it and absorbing it. So they were great teachers, and you know, I could tell you some stories about lessons that were learnt, and yeah, these are things that, you know, you require, I think, if you're going to be the best you can be. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you have a lot of stories. Could you maybe just share just one of those?
There was a moment at the end of, it was the end of season 1. Mr. Capaldi was doing a take. I'm not sure what episode it was, it might be the last one. But the Queen, we were about to catch him out, and we were trying to sort of set this trap for him, you know, in a church, and the Queen was listening in, and he was kind of revealing the fact that he had all these plans and all this kind of stuff. So it was his take. We'd done myself and Aramis shot, and now we're turning around onto him, so we were doing the same sequence, but just from his, you know, from his perspective and from our point of view, if you like, but or from his point of view, but you know what I'm saying. So there was a moment where Peter said he was doing his thing, you know, and playing the scene, and he just suddenly switched and started swearing and being like, "You fucking knuckleheads!" You know, he went crazy, and I got really like, you know, yeah, I got really pissed at him straight away because I just thought, who does this guy think he is? You know, to try and talk to us like this. You know, we're actors, we're all telling a story. You know, and then effortlessly he went into the speech. So he broke character seemingly, and then went back into a speech, and I went, oh, he was using it to psych himself up. And he told me after that it was a technique they learned on the thick of it. But he went from being the cardinal to the worst Peter you can imagine. You know, saying that we weren't listening to him, you know, and it was all a ploy to get himself in character and to get himself upset. And then he went and he used it, and it just taught me a lot about how you get something for a shot. You know, there's a lot that happens behind and on the side of the camera, you know, that sometimes is required for you to capture the essence of a moment or a motif. And just but you know, he completely convinced me. He convinced everyone on set. People were like, "What's happened to Peter?" But he's just a great actor, you know. And so yeah, that was, you know, perhaps I haven't. Well, no, I won't say that. It was a great moment. If I've expressed that, great. If you haven't got it, tough.
I've got to ask you, 100% sure.
Yeah.
He was just getting him to say he wasn't really mad.
He was, because I went up to him and I said to him, "Why did you direct that at me?" You know, and he went, "Because I knew that you would give me what I needed." You know, so what was that effect? He knew that I would believe him and react in that way. Because again, my reaction to him, which was like one of, in this moment, I do not like you. Right? In that moment, sorry, you're right.
No, it's fine.
In that moment, right, he was then able, we call it the figure of eight, right? So in that moment, he was able to then look at me and get completely what he needed, and look at me with the attitude that he needed as the cardinal, you know. Remember, this is a business of suspending one's disbelief, my own and yours. And so maybe Peter felt that he needed to believe himself more in the moment, whatever, but he needed to do whatever he needed to do to get in that moment. And as De Niro once said, on the subject of one's process, it doesn't matter how you get there as long as you get there. If you don't get there, then we're going to have a problem. And he got himself there. He also got me there in that moment. So this is what we call genius, you know. So yeah, beginning of every season. And that was invaluable. We had a great stunt coordinator and stunt team. Merlet, which is a Czech stunt company with real Musketeers, it seems. Roman was kind of one of those leaders in that pack. And he taught us a lot, you know, about our physical life, you know, how we were as Musketeers, and the way in which you fight, the way you carry yourself individually as well as collectively, really just informs your choices as an actor and therefore a character in 17th century Paris and France. And so yeah, physical life for those characters was essential, and those guys really helped us discover that. But in terms of the actual doing it, I've always likened it to learning a language. Okay. You know, in the sense of you start learning, you know, your vowel sounds and your consonants, and then you're making sort of, you know, saying words, and then you're forming sentences, and then before you know it, you're having a conversation, right? So it's kind of like that. It's a well-rehearsed, violent dance, you know, where you're just missing each other, you know, and much more challenging than actual fighting, like real-life fighting.
Imagine,
yeah, I've done a bit of that. It's much more difficult. Well, you know, if you're trying to hit each other, it's kind of easy, you know.
Yeah.
Try and hit each other.
But
just trying to miss. Yeah. That's a whole different kettle of fish, and but very enjoyable. And yeah, it's always nice to kind of, you know, beat someone with a fork. You know, it's always going to be cool. You know what I mean? I don't know anyone who's done that in real life, but I did.